Hey, it's Jason Wood, host of Armed and Ready podcast. And our guest today, really awesome couple of guys, Joe and Terrance. They started a nonprofit that really fits the bill well. In my experience and being in the military, it's pretty disruptive to families and more so even to the kids, right? Because they're moving from a new city to a new city, and it can be hard, to make friends and get acquainted and just be active and out of the house. And so Joe and Terrance saw a real need for this and created a nonprofit called Strikeout for a Cause. And they're doing some really awesome things to help transitioning families. And so go ahead, check out this podcast. It's really great. Hi, I'm Jason Wood. We have a special guest today visiting us, Joe Jennings.
Thanks for having me.
Joe,
Appreciate it.
man?
Absolutely, man.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Joe Jennings. I'm originally from San Diego, California. I'm 34 years old. My spouse is Deani, and I have a daughter named Pearl. We run a nonprofit here in San Diego, me and my good buddy that I grew up with. It's called Strikeout for a Cause. And it's aimed at military kids and give them an outlet to kind of express themselves and get involved with sports. So that's kind of what we do.
Nice, that's awesome. Yeah. So tell me about Strikeout for a Cause. Obviously, you help kids get involved into sports, right? Kids on a military basis,
sure.
Right? Mm-hmm. How did that vision come to be? Like, how did that first become a seed that you guys started working on?
So me and my buddy Terrance, you'll get to meet him here in a minute. He's going to come to the studio as well. Terrance, we grew up together. His parents were both military family. They came to San Diego because of the Navy. So they moved into the town that I grew up in, which was called Serra Mesa, right up the hill here. Yeah. And we became really good friends. And that was when we were, I think, in 4th grade or so. So his parents were always involved in the military. My family as well, my grandpa was in the Navy. He came from Minnesota to San Diego, relocated his family, my dad and my parents, to San Diego. So that's how my family came to San Diego. So we kind of clicked instantly, and we just became friends. And over time, we started working with more kids, and we were always involved in baseball and sports. He's the bat boy for the Padres. I played collegiate baseball. And so we always had a passion for baseball. But we always saw that we also had, we wanted to work with kids and kind of help them develop. And so San Diego is a real military community. And so we thought the idea was like, why don't we help out military kids? Because we were doing some research and some studying that military kids, they go from city to city to city to city. And it's one after another. And I just remember as a kid growing up how hard it is to make friends. And I lived in the same community for 15 years, 20 years. Now this kid is coming in at age 8 to 10, and he's got to start over. Every time they're starting over and making new friends. And since we played sports, and sports taught us so many good memories and how to create relationships with people, teaches you how to communicate, how to work hard, some integrity. It helps you in more than just sports. And so we made great friends playing sports. And so we thought, what better way to get military kids involved into the community than playing sports, right? It gets them active, it gets them outdoors, it gets them on their feet, it gets them interactive with other kids. And so that's something that these kids need, because otherwise they're just going to be at home playing video games, and right. That's kind of the concept of how we started it. We started with one event, and we didn't have a name for it at that time. We just kind of had this idea, this concept, like, hey, we want to work with kids. We want to help people in the community. I'm like, dude, San Diego's military. My wife served 6 years in the Marine Corps. Your parents in the military. My family, it just works perfect. So we were like, you know what? If we're gonna do this, if we're gonna strike out at something, we might as well do it for a cause. And I was like, that's our name right there. And so That's how we came up with our name, Strike Out for a Cause. And great. So ever since then, we just started going little by little, hosting little events here and there, for military families to come out and enjoy themselves. So that's kind of how it came about.
That's really cool. So how do you actually get to the kids?
Sure.
How do you connect with them? Because they're moving here, from across the country. So how do you get in front of them before they become so I mean, imagine for a kid, it's probably scary to
Yeah,
go out and meet
absolutely.
new people, right? So
Absolutely.
how do you get to them?
There's many different avenues that we've seen. A lot of the times, for instance, we had one kid. We coach baseball, so I coach. We run a baseball team here in San Diego.
Okay.
It's for 12 and under, and so we'll put out little flyers or feelers, and we'll kind of ask the military community if they know anybody who's 12 and under who plays baseball, who wants to get involved, who maybe just moved here. We had one kid, he moved to San Diego, he joined our team, he came out to a practice, he started playing with us, and he was a military kid. He kind of got familiar with the kids, started making friends. All of a sudden, a month later, they're playing, hanging out, going over to his house. And unfortunately, that kid, he has to go to Hawaii in a couple weeks. He's got to start all over and make a whole another new set of friends. And so we've done social media. I think social media is huge in getting, there's so many groups on Facebook for military community that we can outreach to. And so that's one big way that we get in front of the kids or their parents. And then we also put out advertising in the community, and word of mouth is also big as well. So that's kind of what we've been doing, and it's working so far, and we hope to get it. The more we can do is things like this podcast, TV, radio. If we can get our name out there even more and support more kids, that's our goal.
Have you guys seen growth in it, as far as like volume of kids? And are you just doing baseball, or are you doing some other sports and things?
We're not opposed to other sports. We do other sports as well. Like we host a bowling event. We've done a kickball event. We've done a stickball event. So we've taken kids to the goals games. So we're not opposed to any other sports. We just use baseball as kind of our foundation to get kids. But if there's kids who want to play the violin and they're in the military, if there's a way that we can help them, sponsor them, get them into some type of program, then we'll do so. So we're not opposed to any other avenues as well.
That's really cool. So in keeping with like the theme of the show, it's called Armed and Ready.
Yeah.
How do you guys mentor or coach the kids that are going to be, they know that they're not going to be here for a long time because they've probably moved more than once, right?
Sure.
And they're going to be here for 2, 3, maybe 6 years at the longest. And, for example, the kid that's on your team now, he's leaving in a couple weeks to Hawaii because his family's PCSing. So how do you prepare them for this?
I think the biggest thing is overcoming adversity. And we always preach adversity, even when we play sports. And so a lot of the times when we have a team that plays baseball, we put them against higher level teams. And we don't always win those games. And it's all about overcoming that adversity. And so if there's something that we can do to teach them, hey, you're going to be put in an uncomfortable situation, but growth will come from that uncomfortable situation. So we like to instill that into our kids when we practice. Hey, this practice isn't going to be comfortable because you're not going to grow from not being comfortable. If you're comfortable, you're not going to grow at all. So we try to arm them and prepare them the best we can on the baseball field or on the sports field, and so that they can be prepared with any adversity that comes in their life. So once that move happens, they know that they're able to communicate better, that if they go to another sports league, like a baseball team, they can communicate and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, and I'm from San Diego, and kind of be able to be ready to meet other people and to put themselves out there. Because a lot of times they'll want to shy back and not want to meet kids and kind of just do their own thing and like, no, I don't want to play. I'm just going to go hang out and play video games, or I'm going to go online. And that's kind of what we're trying to prepare them not to do. And so sports has a way of teaching people confidence and giving them that confidence, and so that they can carry it on for the rest of their life.
That's really great. Yeah, it really does translate into real life. And I imagine parents are probably super supportive.
Absolutely.
I imagine too. You guys are a nonprofit, obviously. So probably takes money to make some of this happen, I guess.
Right. So
how do you guys do that?
Our goal this 2020 year, we have some goals that were set out. We're working with a few Major League Baseball players. They're going to actually strike out for the cause, meaning every time they strike a player out, they will donate to our nonprofit.
Oh, that's awesome.
So be on the lookout this 2020. We're going to start with a couple of Padre players. From there, they're going to basically be a month out of the year. Well, every time they strike a player out, that money will go to the kids in our programs. The goal is for them, every time they strike somebody out, that one kid, we will pay for his Little League or his travel sports for that year. So if there's a new kid, if one of the players strikes out somebody during a game, that donation will cover a kid's cost to play in our program or to play in any type of program here in San Diego. So we'll go and actually find that kid and say, hey, you're a military kid. We want to sponsor you for the 2020 year for your whole season to play as opposed to just sitting at home.
That's really exciting.
That's kind of something that we're like, as opposed to kids who's like on the fence of playing, well, now their parents are like, well, it's being paid for, and so let's get you outside of the house, and it's going to be good for them. So
that's cool. And the tie with the professional baseball player is a big deal,
yeah,
right? Especially for the kids.
Absolutely. And so we're also doing something with the Padres. We're going to bring a family of 4 to every home game in San Diego. So every home game that there is for the Padres, we're going to bring out a military family of 4, and they're going to get to sit behind home plate, and we're going to pick a different military family each game, and we're going to also hopefully get some sponsors to take them out to dinner before the game. So our goal is to, help 60 different families, 60 different games here in San Diego, just enjoy themselves. They don't have to be, they don't have to have a kid and be a part of our program, or so to speak, but they can just be a military family and they want to, experience a Padre game. We're going to try to help make that happen.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool. So how do military families find you?
That's a very good question. They can visit at Strikeout for a Cause is our handle on Instagram, Facebook, and all our social media platforms. They can find us at www.strikeoutforacause.com, and that's generally the best way to find us. And they can also email me at joseph@strikeoutforacause with any questions, and I'll leave some info if anybody reaches out. Feel free to shoot them our way, and we'd be happy to work with any military family here in San Diego.
That's really cool. Yeah, well, thanks for sharing that with us.
Absolutely,
It's been awesome.
Cool deal.
Cool.
Thank
Joe.
you so much.
Yeah,
appreciate it. All right.
Terrance, we just spoke with your partner, Joe, and he gave us some cool insight as to what your guys' organization is all about. But I wanted to dive a little bit deeper and get into it with you and get kind of your personal take on not only what you guys are doing, but kind of the why behind it and your history, with Joe and stuff like that. So if you could, share with us and share with the audience, a little bit about, how you and Joe came to know each other and how you got from there to today.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us. It's a huge honor to be here talking to you about what we do and share our why, because it's not often that we get a chance to share that, with strangers or people that we know or love, because of fear of being rejected. And, Joe and I are longtime friends that, I have love for. And to share something as special as Strikeout for a Cause with a guy that has a like-mindedness about giving back to his community, again, serving those who serve us with the military background, it's special. And this is not something we planned or had a vision board in mind and thought that this was going to be happening anytime soon. This is something that we led with our heart and our faith, and where we were able to do what we do best. And like I was talking to you earlier, I'm sure Joey shared, we grew up around sports. And with my mom and dad both serving in the military, I felt like I was responsible to do my part in the community, serving those who served us. And, although I'm not in the military, I respect and admire what those people do in the military. And I think that we all have an opportunity to serve in our own capacity. And Strikeout for a Cause is an organization that's built around giving back and doing our part to provide those families with fun, free, memorable experiences that, quite honestly, are not had enough.
Right. Yeah, and you touched on something that's important for me too, which is service. Yeah. Right. And I think that's the reason a lot of people join the military. Is because they feel like this tug at their heart that they need to serve their country. Like I certainly did. Right. Ever since I was a kid at a small age, I felt that tug that's what I needed to be doing, and so I think that's important when you talk about that, because you don't have to serve in the military to serve the military, right, or to serve your country, for that matter. So I think what you're stating and with Strikeout for a Cause and being able to serve is doing your part, right? Not everyone has to hold a gun and to be able to provide that a service to their country and give, right?
Well, certainly, yeah. And thank you again for your service. And yeah, it's cool to be a part of serving our country in other ways other than joining the military, because we have an ethical and personal responsibility. I love our country, and I'm again forever indebted to do our part. And it starts within our community, with our families and our future, to show them what that can mean. And with our organization, like, we have a chance to impact the younger generation, to get them exposed to how to give back, and how to provide that outlet for families to spread love and, memories. And I'm all about it. I'm all about including other people that may not know about how they can give back in other ways to their country. And what better way to do it than through sports, which brings all people together.
Right. Well, it's fun, you know. So I think that helps bust down barriers and open up these kids to an opportunity to develop friendships and develop as a person, right?
Yeah.
Develop their personality and their character and stuff like that. Because it can be intimidating, right? Going to a new place and having to make new friends in a new school or a new environment. So I think what you guys are doing is really commendable.
Yeah, I mean, it all kind of correlates, because when you think about baseball, there's so many different elements. You have the business side, you have the player side, and you have the service side. And I have the opportunity to work on different assets of baseball, and I've had the privilege of knowing these guys from back when they were 19 years old, coming to the United States for the first time and having to adapt not only with the language but the cultures, and having baseball as that universal language to find that camaraderie with their teammates, their longtime friends, is special. And it makes a big difference to how they're going to mature and grow in life. And what you hit on was these kids that are moving to different cities because mom or dad's deployed to San Diego from Texas, having that outlet, which is sports, to meet new friends, feel the comfort of, stepping outside their boundaries, is something that we want to encourage. Not everybody's going to make it to the big leagues and be a superstar.
Right.
That's something that, is in the plan. That's higher up. And to be able to encourage camaraderie, teamwork, communication, love, that's what we're trying to establish. And realistically, not everybody has the means to support the extracurricular activities such as youth sports. And we don't want money to be a reason why some kid can't enjoy that, especially coming from a military family.
Right.
So through Strikeout for a Cause, through baseball, we're allowing everyone to be a part of that opportunity where they can encourage sports, community, and friendships.
That's great. Yeah, I think it's a cool niche. Having been in the military, I wasn't married or had children then. So, PCS moved to different bases. Like, going to different bases, I always thought, as a single guy, was kind of exciting, right?
Yeah.
It was kind of a safe place where you get to meet new people and, you're protected. You got this, base that protects you, basically, but never not having been a parent at that time, and now being a parent and kind of thinking through that process, moving a family and moving children and stuff. What you guys are doing is cool. It fills a cool void because, as the military member, you have, like, you wake up every morning, you go to your job, and here's your new people, and here's your new team, right? And here's your but as a kid, maybe you go to school and that's it, but you're not really put into any sort of environment where you have to develop and build those characteristics of teamwork and relationships and things like that. So, I'm really honored to meet you guys and learn about the service that you're providing, because it really is awesome.
Thanks. And it's natural, it's organic, and it's something that hits home. Personally, like, as a father.
Terrance, let's have you take that from the top. It's natural, something that hits home.
Okay, cool.
And 3, 2, 1, action.
It's natural. It hits home. Personally, I'm a father of 2, an 8-year-old and a 7-year-old. And my kids transfer schools. And my daughter had that fear of not making new friends or missing out on her own friends. And now she's playing soccer, and she's actually joining her soccer team through her class. And I personally get to stand back and watch my daughter enjoy sports, not because of the fact that she scored her first goal, but because of the fact that she's sharing that time with her friends outside of the classroom. And I'm hopeful it's gonna do what it did for me and Joey and I, where it's something we're always gonna look back at. Because my daughter is in 3rd grade, and like I told you earlier, that's when I met Joe.
Right.
And I remember the fact that when we were in that championship game in the rec ball, and I was wide open in the corner, and he didn't pass it to me like it was yesterday. And I hope my daughter remembers those memories from her friends, because it definitely allowed me to grow and have friendships for a lifetime. And I'm just thankful to be a part of those memories for other kids.
Awesome. Great, man. Well, thanks for sharing your story and sharing about Strikeout for a Cause with us. Where can people get connected to you guys if they want to either help support, or maybe they're a family that would like to use your services? How do they do that?
Well, I'm sure Joey touched base on our website, strikeoutforacause.com, and our social media platforms such as Instagram and Facebook. But we're right now establishing our Strikeout for a Cause team, where we're linking up with current and future Major League Baseball players, where they're going to be joining the cause. Where for every strikeout that they do or they have, they're going to be able to donate towards providing that family experience. And
let's take that one from the top. For every strikeout that they have, they're going to donate.
Okay.
And 3, 2, 1, action.
For every strikeout that they
You're good.
For every strikeout they
every strikeout they throw.
Yeah, they execute. I don't know, it's throw. If it's a strikeout, they collect.
Maybe just for every strikeout.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And 3, 2, 1, action.
So like for every strikeout that they have this year, it's going to go towards providing those family experiences and paying it forward while they play it forward for those kids to pursue sports.
That's awesome.
So be on the lookout for Strikeout for a Cause. We're going to be on social media. Our website's coming along, and we're just excited to include more families to be a part of our service.
That's great, man. I love it. And thanks again so much for coming.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, it's Jason again. I just wanted to thank you for checking in today and listening to our podcast. If you have any questions about anything we talked about today or any of the guests, feel free to email me directly or visit me at valonguy.us.